Ah, Hello, everybody. This is Leonard Johnson coming back at you again with another version of the Run the Hammer podcast. And I just got off a great hour with Brian Smith from Rich Spring Manetta. And, and the more we talk about these things, the more I learn what I don't know about these coaches. Been around a lot, but just to sit down, and have this time, just to sit and listen and I like I said, I'm having a blast doing these things, man, because the only time a lot of us get together is during the clinic and everything, and we rarely, you know, me and some of the older guys were talking a couple of years ago. Everybody stays in their own herd.
Yeah.
They rarely reach out there and put a hand out and say, "Hey, I'm so and so," and we don't know what the reason is, but anyway, we're just reaching out. Tonight we have Scotty Dean from my old stumping ground. Back in the day, that was my first head coaching job at C.A. Johnson many moons ago.
That
And
right.
yeah, that was back in the mid 70s. That was back in the time where they had rubber helmets and
Before I was born.
so so I'm glad to have Scotty on, and he was doing a phenomenal job down there at C.A. Johnson. I'm glad to see this because you want to see the places that you have been do well. I know that community well. Used to get my hair cut down there at the bottom of Bonneville Road.
Yeah.
Is Moses still cutting?
I don't know. I haven't made it down there yet. I cut my own hair.
Man, you need to go out there and meet Moses.
I need to go down there and sit
Yeah,
down there with
yeah, you need to go meet
I'll
Moses.
tell
Man.
you
He's a
what,
good man.
I'm gonna make it happen this week. I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah, tell him I sent you. Okay.
That's
So
right.
let me go ahead and make myself smaller here and make you bigger. Hey, well, that's the wrong thing right there. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, guys. We got Scotty Dean from the great school of C.A. Johnson High School, and wow, let's go, man. Let everybody know who Scotty Dean is.
Scotty Dean. I come from a small town in Alabama, in Headland, Alabama. It's so small. I tell people I'm from Dothan, but I came from Headland, Alabama. I graduated high school in 1998. I was fortunate enough to receive an athletic scholarship to Wofford and Spartanburg. Graduated there with a degree in math in 2002, and was fortunate enough to land my my first coaching and teaching job in Camden under Coach Jimmy Neal and that staff. When I got there, well, I'm from Alabama, so I didn't know much about high school football here. And when I got there in 2001, they won the whole thing. And walking through the gym, he showing me around the school, and I looked at him like, Coach Neal, man, y'all won the championship last year? Kind of looked at me like, what rock you been under? And man, I'm stepping into a good situation. Coached there for 6 years on his staff, and then I went to Fairfield. In fact, when I got to Fairfield, Coach Kennedy and Tommy Brown were about to swap back. One was going back to Orangeburg, and one was coming back to Fairfield, and I was there in the middle of it. Got the head baseball job there. I was the head baseball job at Fairfield for about 14 years. I held every title you can imagine on the football side of things: defense coordinator, special team coordinator, head JV coach. You name it, I coached it at Fairfield. And then when Coach Kennedy left, Coach Davis came in, and I spent the rest of my tenure at Fairfield with Coach Davis. So I like to tell guys, and at Fairfield, we went to 2 state championships. I think we went to 4 straight upper state championships. And I like to tell guys, man, I've in 20 years, I've had 3 jobs at 3 schools. And I've coached for some of the best head coaches in the state. Jimmy Neal, we know what he did. We all know what Reggie continued to do. And Coach Davis with his run at Fairfield, I was there in the middle of that. And you want to always try to see if you can run your own program. And I thought I was ready. And last year I applied for C.A. Johnson. They was in the middle of a coaching change. And fortunately I got the job, and here I am.
Wow, good story. So you were an assistant for 14, 15 years, if my math is correct?
19.
19 years.
Yep. This is my 21st year. Last year was my first head coaching job.
Yeah, and you get these guys coming out of college with their what's that game they play? Madden.
Oh yeah,
and draw one play, and they think they ought to come in as offensive coordinator.
That's what I'm trying to say. They think that's all to it. I think you just show up on Friday and that thing happens, man. But it don't happen like that. It's a lot of work going into that product they see on Friday.
When did you realize that that work had to be put in before you even start thinking about that HC?
Well, like that first year I coached, it was a little bit different. I went from a college football player to a high school defensive line coach. I mean, Coach Neal, when I got there, we worked. We worked, and we paint from everything from painting the field to clean up. We spent a week. We called it work week. Prior to the season, we spent a week going up to the school. We'd go meet for 6 hours and make sure everything's ready for the season to kick off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew that if you was going to be any good at this thing, you're going to need some athletes and you're going to need some coaches that's willing to put the work in. And that's what we did. I mean, then when I left there and went to Fairfield, with Coach Kennedy, after he left, I think Coach Kennedy stayed at Fairfield for 2 years when I was there. I think he went to Blythewood next. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Davis came in. He came from state. And he was full go, man. We would meet, we would break down our film from our game Friday night as a staff. Saturday morning we would meet. And our players came back in on Saturday morning and we broke tape, reviewed the game with them. And then on Sunday we met as a staff to prep for the next week. And had our Bible study and that stuff, man. And it was 7 days a week. And at that time, we were winning a lot of football games. I think we won about 27-2, 27-3 in 2 years, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was 7 days a week. But it when you win, when you do that stuff and you win, that time you don't even notice. You look up and it's December and you're playing in one of them stadiums downtown in Columbia. Mm-hmm. And you realize that's what we did all that for. And I'll do it every day to get back to that status.
How do you do that now? Do you follow the same regimen now?
Well, on Friday night, the coordinators break the film, but they do it on their own. I want it done Saturday so we can start inputting on huddle for the next week. And I meet with my staff on Sunday from 2. We meet at 10. The players come in at 2. They get a lift in, and then if we win, we feed them. We have a Sunday dinner after that lift. So we get Saturday off. I mean, we say Saturday off, but still working.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of modified it just a.
I modified it a hair. Mm-hmm. My wife be on me, man. And trust me, I got lucky. I got one. My wife, we were sitting watching TV the other day, and a football preview came on for professional football. She said, "God, I love football." Uh-huh. So I consider myself one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I was going to say it because I was going to ask you, how did you get to balance your schedule with family?
It's tough. It's tough because I don't think you can do enough. You got to be able to. Family's first, of course. You got to be able to put the time in for family, and you got to be lucky enough to have a family that supports you in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. My wife comes to every football game. When we win, her and my mother-in-law, they cook the food. And we ain't talking like pizza and chicken. We talking neck bones and collard greens and macaroni and
I need to come up there after you
all right,
win.
next time we win, come on through. Man, last week we had fried chicken, cabbage, macaroni. They did some homemade cookies. So I mean, it's a Sunday dinner.
Okay, you cook. You do this on Sunday.
Yep, on Sunday. And the reason why we do it on Sunday, sometimes our kids, the population I'm dealing with, they don't have a chance to sit down and eat and talk and just fellowship with teammates and coaches and things like that. So I wanted to make that a part of our program, and we started doing it last year, and I think we're gonna do it everywhere.
That is great. And trust me, Coach, that's the first time I've heard that. And you're doing something that's great because you're filling in a gap. And in the game, you bring in that team thing, which is what I love. We in this together, and they feel cared for. And once you get a kid to get that feeling, they'll run through a brick for you.
That's it. Once you get them doing that, man. Well, they learn that we care more about them than what's going on the football field.
Exactly.
A lot of times we get it misconstrued and think it's about winning on the scoreboard at the end of a game Friday. And sometimes, I mean, let's just face it, some of these kids need more than a win on Friday. They need to win Monday through Thursday and ultimately Saturday and Sunday also.
Yeah, that is great, man. I applaud that for you. I mean, I never even thought of that. Doing this thing for 1,000 years, Yeah. But you got kids?
I got a 19-year-old son. He wrestles at Lander. He went to Lugoff High School. He's in his sophomore year wrestling at Lugoff. We got a granddaughter that lives with us. She goes to school with us, so I have to go to dance, and on the weekends I have to go out of town for dance competitions and stuff like that. So that's been great though. They was around there. She was getting her hair braided a while ago, and my wife got 2 children, Markel and Caleb. So we got 3. I think 6 grandkids. 6 grandkids.
Hey, Mama, how you doing?
Listen, man, my biggest fan. Hey, come to the school. We get C.A. Johnson's shirt. She get her shirt. And Naya, she comes to the game too. So
yeah, that's great, man.
And it's one of the biggest things about it for me, Coach, is after we lose, we feel like we didn't do enough. We feel like we didn't get them prepared about the game. And sometimes I look at them and look at her, and they don't care about the score of the game. They glad to see me walk through the door and be waiting on me at the end on the field after the game. And it puts it all in perspective.
That's right. You got to keep it in perspective, man, because sometimes we get this thing totally out of whack.
I'm telling you, it's easy to do.
It is. I remember I was that way too until an old man whispered in my ear. He said, "It's only a stupid game, man. Settle down."
One game, man.
It's only a stupid game. And since then, I've kind of calmed down a little bit. A lot. Actually, I calmed down a lot. What part of Alabama you say you?
I'm from Headland, Alabama. It's in the southeastern corner of the state. It's on the Georgia and Florida line.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of. I went to Bishop College in Dallas.
Okay.
Many moons ago. You weren't even a thought then.
Wasn't even thought of. Yes, sir.
And I used to. We used to play all those schools in Mississippi, Alabama, Miles, Alabama State one time. And,
Alabama State. I got a cousin that teaches at Alabama State, and her son plays there now. They was on TV last night.
That is great, man.
Funny story about that, man. My grandmama, everybody in my family went to Alabama State, and I was living with my grandmama my senior year of high school, and we was going to sign my letter of intent to Wofford. Of course, I barely knew anything about Wofford before I did any research, before I got to come up on my visit. So I was like, man, I don't know. That's a long way away. So we on the way to sign my letter of intent. My grandmama she didn't say, she just looked at me and was like,
giving you the look, huh?
Yeah, she was like, well, why don't you go to Alabama State? And I was like, ooh, dang, she's been holding that one in. So I said, Grandma, this place is pretty special. And at the time, the Panthers still at Wofford.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when I was being recruited, they started to spend money to build that place up like you wouldn't believe. I mean, Jerry Jones went to Wofford too.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jerry Jones, but my man named
Richardson.
Jerry Richardson went to,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to start pouring money into it. I mean, it was amazing. And I said, I'm going to school here. And all she wanted to know was she didn't care. She didn't know. Matter of fact, when I went on my visit, they flew me up. And they picked me up in Greenville at the airport. And they took me out and fed me a steak. And the next morning, I go down to the locker room, which was brand new. They had a jersey with my name on the back, my name on that Jumbotron scoreboard, and I had never been anywhere. I had never seen anything. I was like, man, I'm coming to school here. I didn't go on any more visits. And so I told my grandma, I think this is where we're going. I think we're going to Wofford, Grandma. I like it. It's a nice school, really nice. She didn't know. She didn't go with me. She told me she was too old to get on the airplane.
Uh-huh.
So I went and came back and told her, I think this is what we're going to do. Coach Lane, which was the offensive coordinator then, he came and sat in the living room and told her, look, by the time we're done educating Scotty and spending money on this education, we'd be spending $150,000 on his education. So I'm blown away.
Mm-hmm.
He, straight face. He said, mm-hmm. And the next, we get ready to go sign the letter of intent. She said, well, why don't you just go to Alabama State? Hornets, man. Hey, they all love it, man. That's what my aunts and my uncles and everybody that went to school at Alabama State. And
what did you play at Wofford?
I played nose guard, played defensive line. Yep.
Okay.
That's when Adrian Peterson was in school, man. The boy that played for Georgia Southern.
Mm-hmm.
God, dog, he can run the football.
Yes, he was kind of good.
I'm telling you, man.
And then when you went to Wofford, it was just for educational purpose and getting the job afterward. Did you have any aspiration of playing on the next level?
When I was a baseball guy.
Oh, you were?
I was a baseball guy. I wanted to play baseball. Well, I went when I was being recruited. When Troy State was Division I AA, which was an hour down the road. I got recruited by Southern Miss as an offensive lineman. I want to play defense. You know how defensive guys are. Furman, and there was a couple other schools. I know when I went to Troy, I was actually going to go work out with the baseball team that morning and the football team that Saturday night, but it rained. So I only got to go to the football game. I talked to the guy, and he said, man, by the time, he said, if we were still Division I AA, we'd offer you a scholarship right now. He said, by the time you're a sophomore, we'll be moving to the big time, and we just don't think you're going to be big enough. Cool. Mm-hmm. My next visit was Wofford, and I wanted to be dual football and baseball. I went to my head baseball coach that spring. I told him, Coach, I done committed to Wofford, and I think I want to play baseball. And he said, Coach, he said, Scotty, I'm sure you can play baseball anywhere in the country. He said, but Wofford done come down here and offer you a full scholarship. You done committed to it. You're going to stick to it. I said, okay. And he said, if you backed out on them now, he said, I don't know if they ever come recruit anybody else here. So I said, okay, Coach. Mm-hmm. Played baseball that spring and went to Wofford and said I was going to try and do both. But after I made it through that first fall, that was it for that thought. Hats off to the guys that do it, man. Uh-huh. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Too much. Between school and football off-season training and baseball, I couldn't do it. So I let that dream go.
Well, how has it been at C.A. Johnson the last year or so?
It's been great, man. Those kids, I wish people knew more about those kids and knew what they do from that community. Those kids work their butts off. They some of them hold jobs. Mm-hmm. They go home to some situation that you can't imagine. And if I tell them we're gonna practice from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, they'll come and they'll try. They'll work their butts off. So that aspect of it, I love it, man. I love the kids. I go to bat for them all the time. little bit different from what I'm used to now. I came from Camden. I went from Camden to Fairfield to C.A. Johnson. Both of those are football schools.
Mm-hmm.
Football is probably the most important thing at both of them schools. And we're trying to build C.A. Johnson to that same thing. That's what we head towards.
Well, what's his name? The athletic director. What's that guy name? The athletic director.
Franklin.
Yeah.
Damien.
Yeah, I had a brain fart there for a second. Yeah, Damien and I go back a ways.
Okay.
yeah, we go back when he was at Carver's Bay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
matter of fact, I think Fairfield played Carver's Bay last week. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yep. Well, according to the score, Carver's Bay just showed up.
Yeah.
I need to call.
I think I don't know, because Dave's got something going on down there that's pretty special, I believe.
But he's back. He's back loaded up again.
Listen, man, they got a freshman quarterback. He's about 6'2", ninth grade. He might be on throw for about 800 yards in 2 games.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's great. I know. I just love to see these guys. Just build their program.
Absolutely.
But see, sometimes this is why I do this podcast, to get you guys out here to highlight your program and everything. Now who's your principal there now?
Isaac McClinton. Mr. McClinton, he's been at C.A. Johnson before. I know he was at Fairfield one time when I was there, and Isaac McClinton he's the principal now. He was played a big part in me getting the job. Mm-hmm. And I met with him in Franklin, and we set some stuff out there, and it happened. So I'm fortunate, thankful for those guys. Yeah,
well, you got I don't know Mr. McClinton, but I do know Damien, and and Damien is always, he tried to do the things the right way.
He tried to do it the right way. Good fellow.
And he got your back.
Oh yeah, he's a good fellow.
Yeah. Now, you can't do this by yourself, nor should you try to do this by yourself. You're looking at Burnout City. If you ever try to do it by yourself, and you want to talk about that great staff you got there?
Well, I know one thing is the first thing I learned when I was at Camden, the guys that was on that staff, it was unreal. The way they worked with each other, the way they cared about the program, and I think that kind of set me what I wanted to be. And then I went to Fairfield. Now, let's to the staff we had at Fairfield. Ken Floyd is the head football coach at AC Floyd. Mm-hmm. He coached the defensive ends, and I coached the defensive tackles. All right. Roach is the athletic director at Fairfield. He was the running backs coach. Raheem Elamine was the outside linebacker coach. He's the principal at Orangeburg Wilkes. We had another guy, Ken Lathan. He's the head football coach in North Carolina. Ryan Sharp was on that staff. He's the office coordinator at River Bluff. Andre Cook was on that staff. He's the head football coach at Airport. It goes on and on. Coleman Washington, before he got out of coaching, he was the defense coordinator at Irmo with Reggie. And I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you got to surround yourself with some good guys that know ball, that know what it takes to win, and don't mind putting the work in and studying. I tell them all the time, I study like I'm having a test for my doctorate. I prepare like my last breath depend on it. And you got to have people around you like that. And if you don't have people around you like that, it's not going to be good. You find yourself trying to do it all. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, David Moore is my offensive coordinator. When I was defense coordinator at Fairfield, he coached linebackers with me. And he had left and went to Charleston. I went down there and got him, told him to come back up here. Told him, come on
back home, huh? Yep. Where was he in Charleston?
He was at, I don't even know the name of the school. It was a private school that he was coaching at. So he left Fairfield one year, and then the next year I got the Johnson job.
Okay.
When I got the job, it was late. He had already taken that job. So I called him and said, man, come on. I need your help. And he came right on. All right. My defense coordinator is Rock Andrews. He worked at Keenan. He worked at Keenan with Frank, matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
My running back coach, I went and got, and he was the middle school football coach at Perry. And I offered him a job, and he said, okay. And that guy do whatever I asked him to do, man. All right. My wide receiver coach is named McKendrick Thompson. He played for me at Fairfield. And he went to Newberry to play football at Newberry College. And I called him and said, hey, man, I got this head coaching job. I got a job for you. Come on. And then on Jamal Williams, who was the wrestling coach, coaches the defensive line. Wayne Johnson coaches the defensive backs. He is our track coach. He also coaches track. Let me see who I'm leaving out. Let me leave nobody out now. Oh, Clifford McDonald is my offensive line coach, another guy that I coached at Fairfield.
Okay.
So, man, hey, I have to coach them all. Coach the coaches, coach the players, and we go out there and we try to get it done.
What's the main thing you look for when you're looking for a coordinator? I mean, not a coordinator, but for an assistant coach.
I left a guy out, too. I left McLean out. Mark McLean. You might know him.
I know Mark well.
Mark McLean, he coaching outside linebackers for me.
Okay, great.
Well, work ethic and the ability, like I said, that staff that I was on at Fairfield and at Camden, I took my position personally. Mm-hmm. It was personal to me that I had my guys prepared, had them understand the game plan, and I wanted them to see, I wanted everybody else to see me doing my part. And I didn't want anybody to ever question that. So that's one thing I look for. Is it personal to you that your guys are prepared and that they do what they're supposed to do? Or are you going to be somebody that brings something to the table and come to work every day? Come to work every day prepared to work. And I think a lot of these coaches these days, they all look for the glory. I don't care if my name ever pop up when we win. When we lose, I'll take the blame. Mm-hmm. But I want somebody who's going to be a team player that's going to have you back. I don't work with some guys that I didn't feel like was part of the team. And it's not good for the camaraderie of the whole deal. So I look for guys that's going to be loyal with a great work ethic and understand the kids that we work with. I think they got to understand them and show what it is to deal with the type of kids that we have. And you have them everywhere. It ain't just at C.A. Johnson. Mm-hmm. So, that's big for me.
Now, you, how far have you, and I think what you're trying to say, you're trying to build that family there, that family atmosphere there.
Absolutely.
How far are you with your staff as far as that family, where they really got each other back?
Well, we getting it there. That first year going in, I think I got the job it was during baseball season because I remember we was in the playoffs at Fairfield when I got the job. Spent the whole baseball game crying because I was going to leave my kids. And then when I came in, I was leaving Fairfield in the middle. We was in the middle of a baseball game, man, a district championship game or something. And I'm balling. People looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" But I had already accepted the C.A. Johnson job, man. And listen, it's crazy. It's crazy. And we had some young guys that were. I had 2 9th graders. We played West Oak. We beat them 2-1. Well, they beat us 2-1, and then we played Blue Ridge at home. That next day, that Saturday, whatever it was. And that boy that played for Blue Ridge, he playing baseball at Clemson right now, and they beat us 4-3. But the pitchers that started that game, they were 9th graders.
Wow! And
I knew that if I wait a little bit, we might be able to do something that hadn't been done around there in a while. So, but basically, man, when I took that job, I was finishing up baseball, and the guys, when I went there, it was late, so I basically had to take some guys that was already there, and then I took a couple guys with me from Fairfield, and it happened so quick that it wasn't nothing. It didn't happen right away. Of course
it never does, and it never does.
Yeah, and so they didn't know us, we didn't know them. I'm kind of loud and aggressive, and I get out there and get to yelling about something on the practice field. Them guys they don't know me. They don't know that I'm really one of the nicest guys and love them more than anybody they're gonna ever meet.
Uh-huh.
And all they was just thinking, man, he's a butthole, So but it was part of it. Like you said, it takes time, and now I don't have a chance to get them over to the house. I've been to their house. They met my family, and now it's better now because we had more time together.
Is it the same group that you hired the first year, or
it's the same group? With a couple of new guys. Moore's new. He didn't coach with us last year, but I coached with him before at another school. And Mark new. Mark came from Orangeburg.
Right.
I seen Coach Carter on here the other day, and I was looking at him, and I was like, man, big Carter got it going on, man.
Yeah. Well, y'all the young lions getting it together for these kids, and and as long as you keep the kids in front, you're gonna be.
That's what it's all about.
You are gonna be fine. I had a blast with the community when I was there.
Oh yeah,
they were so good. That was back in the mid '70s, and they were C.A. Johnson to the hilt. I mean, that green and gold, and probably before they even started talking about Big Gates and everything, I remember rivalry. I don't know if it's still a good rivalry with Keenan, and I mean, have $10,000 to $12,000. I mean, 10 to 12,000 people in the stadium and everything. How is that community? Is it still rabid as ever?
It's changed a little bit. I'm trying to get them. I want to pack that stadium. Okay, they redid our stadium.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So it's real nice stadium for a 1A football team. We share a stadium with Columbia High. And 2 years ago, when Coach Wilson had the Johnson job, they beat Keenan 23-20 or 22-20 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And okay, I got the Johnson job, and Coach McLeod got the Keenan job. So we was at a 7-on-7 and at Gilbert somewhere, and he's walking around with his chest out, and I'm walking around with my chest out. So now we had some last year. We had some boys. Now we had 3 or 4 of them that go to college and play, man. And so we both walking around proud of what we're doing and proud of where we was at. And okay, and I knew that we had beat them the prior year, and I'm like, okay, they ain't gonna come around here and push us around. And so we got into it, and we played Keenan in the regular season, and we turned the ball over 10 times.
Wow!
They onside. Okay, first of all, last year we went 6-4. We won the playoff game and lost one. Mm-hmm. So in the regular season, I think we was 5-3. We lost to Southside Christian, Lamar, and Keenan. Mm-hmm. Keenan onside kicked it every time, and I know they got 4 of them. And I think we threw 3 interceptions and 3 fumbles. And after that, I called Coach McLeod and said, man, I'm sorry. I'll never say anything else to you again. Let's get – I learned my lesson on that now. God, we took it on the 10, man.
Yeah.
And they celebrated, and they was proud. So, of course, and Franklin came from Keenan. So it was a big deal, man. And we didn't play them this year.
You didn't?
Nope. This year they in the region with Gray and Cam. I think they got 6 teams in the region.
Yeah.
And they didn't have no space for us or something like that. So I don't know. I wanted to play them, but I wanted some revenge, man. I couldn't say nothing to them.
Oh man, that was standard during that time, man. Yep. That was what everybody wanted to see. I remember the last we played them. I mean, I think it had to be 12 to 15,000 people in there. And I don't know if you heard of Coach Bolden.
Coach Bolden.
Yeah, he was there.
I heard a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's the legendary coach. Yeah, he's
Bolden Stadium.
Huh?
Bolden
that's
Stadium.
what. That's what the stadium's named after. His son is the astronaut.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my mentor during that time. And
Coach Bolden.
Yeah, he helped me out a whole lot during that time. And sadly enough, during one of those games, to show you how intense that thing was, Um, he died of a heart attack at the game.
In one of the Keenan games.
Yeah, and that was we didn't know it until we got back in the thing. All we knew was all the players knew that it was something happened in the stands. But that game, man, I mean, we used to go after each other. I mean, nothing but blood, man.
That's it.
Yeah, and a good friend of mine was who we Walt English. He was the other coach at Keenan. Yeah, and he was. We were rivalries. I helped him with everything, but we were first rivalry. But he was a good friend of mine.
That's it.
And let me ask you this: are you younger coaches actually friends with each other?
Well, you guys might get this. I think two of them are roommates, and they've been at Johnson before I got there. The head track coach and head wrestling coach. They're friends.
No, I'm talking about the head coaches.
Oh, the head coaches at the school?
Yeah. Are y'all actually friends? Where
you
can put this thing down, where you can put this thing down and go drink a soda pop or something?
Absolutely. Ken Floyd is one of my best buddies. I call him all the time. Ken, man, tell me what y'all doing when y'all block power. He come over to my house and we sit down and we'll talk football. Coach Davidson is I appreciate him for everything I know. He's one of my buddies. I call Reggie all the time to give him a hard time. Listen, those guys, they know, and this kind of thing where we all come from the same culture tree. So I think we all have a respect for each other and consider each other friends. I have lifelong friends. I talked to Coach Hannah at Wade Hampton the other day. And he was telling me, Jerry Brown was the head coach at Hannah before he was.
Right.
I mean, at Hampton before he was. And he was telling me everything he learned from Jerry Brown. But I worked for Jerry Brown when he was the athletic director at Fairfield, right there before Coach Davis got there. So, and then I started talking about Coach Davis, and he said, "Hey, man, Coach Davis and I coached golf at South Carolina State, the girls' golf team." So it's a small world, and yeah, I consider them guys friends. Even like I said, me and McCloud, we had our little falling out during the 7-on-7 thing, and I'm walking around with my chest poked out, and he got his poked out. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm cut from that same cloth now. You're gonna just come in here and do me any kind of way." And we went at it, but since we picked up the phone and talked, and man, we call and talk to each other and ask each other for advice all the time. I mean,
that's good, man.
Shaq Hilton at Eau Claire, I talk to him all the time.
Yeah, that's good because I was a little concerned about that. Some things that I was seeing and everything, and I said it shouldn't be this way. You know, the game, the relationship should be above competition.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely. The relationship you build with people you're gonna have those relationships after football over with.
Okay. Now we were talking about your community.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, them guys in that community, they love C.A. Johnson. They love C.A. Johnson just as much as anybody anywhere I've ever been loved in places. I got a guy. His name Gray. I don't even know his real name, but he feeds the football team every Friday.
I think Gray Eye played for me.
Maybe he did. Listen, Gray Eye come up there. Him and his brother James. They cook too much food. The guys have food for pregame and postgame. And when I first got the job, I told him, Gray Eye, don't you worry about this coaching part. I said, you let me take care of the coaching. And, and every time I call him and say, Gray Eye, you gonna have the food at 3:30? He said, hey, just like you told me not to worry about the coaching part, you worry about this food. You worry about coaching. So him and Harry, those guys, man, those people.
Harry Townsend.
I don't know Harry last name. I just call him Harry.
White Harry.
White guy. That's him.
Yeah, he played for me.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's what I'm calling to get on it, man. Listen, them guys support anything we do.
You got some good people there, man.
Harry, we lost the Esther Friday, and Harry called me Saturday morning. Hey, Dean, listen, don't jump off the top of the roof. I just want to call and make sure everything's okay. And I was like, Harry, man, I'm good. This is part of the grind, man. But like I said, those guys support. It's unbelievable.
Great, man. I'm glad of that because we had to rebuild that program, and they were part of rebuilding that thing back in the mid
Mhm.
'70s, and that's great. You got some good guys working with you, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Anything I need, man, I call them. Hey man, we got 7 on 7 today. I need to feed the guys. Gray, I walk up and hand me $200 and say, go buy them all something.
mm-hmm.
So that kind of support, and they want us to win. But it's not just for football now. They basketball, they're in the gym yelling, wrestling, the tennis match. They be out there at the tennis match. So they love C.A. Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Did you look English? Do you get a lot of basketball players coming up to play football?
Last year's team, we had some. We got a few of them this year. Of the 34, 35 athletes we had on the football team, we graduated 17 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 or 3 of our best players now are basketball players.
Okay, great.
But now it's a couple of them that say they only they basketball only. I told them, man, I can make you a better basketball player.
Yeah.
And they, some of them don't want to hear it, but I don't think. Now, do you know our basketball coach?
What's his name?
His name's Tyrell Manning. He was assistant for Zach Norris at Keenan.
I don't know him.
Okay, well, Zach Norris is he's every bit of Zach. Now, I don't know if he tell him not to come out there or not now, but as a few of them, I want him out there.
I can't go there with you on that one.
That's what I said. I don't know if he tell him or not now, but I'll be on.
Yeah, but I think I'll put my 6 cents in. I think you do the kids a disservice by not letting them.
Absolutely.
Doing that, because you don't know where that goal is going to come from.
That's right.
You know, and it's but that's a battle I've been fighting for years, and will continue to fight it. A lot of AAU guys don't like me because I'm very vocal.
I got a kid right now. He's a sophomore now. He's about 6'3", probably about 240. He want to play AAU basketball.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Well, but that's a battle that that's not going to be one. It's not going to be one today. But that's great, man. You got that support from the communities, and if you got Harry and the crew together, you all right, man. You are
on the right track at least. You know.
Yeah. You know you're doing it right. You know, just they're gonna take care of you. You just make sure you go down to the bottom.
I'm going
down the bottom and introduce yourself to Moses.
Coach Johnson sent me down.
Yeah. Let's talk about your kids. I know they've been through a couple of games.
All right. We got about 40 right now. Mm-hmm. So what I did was we finished the summer with about 28 kids, and I told our assistant coaches, if it's a young guy walking in that building, and if he didn't come up here not one day during the summer, if he come to me and say, I want to play football, I'm going to give him a physical packet. We're going to get him a physical. We're going to let him come out. We're going to teach him whatever we can teach him. So we got about 12 freshmen that came, and that put our numbers at about 40, which is good for us. I got one of the basketball players that you talked about, that asked about. He's about 6'3", probably about 190. He plays outside linebacker. He runs track. His name's Terrell Hopkins. He's going to be good for us this year. Caleb Pearson is a junior. He returns kicks. He punts. He lines up at DB. He lines up at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. In fact, Friday, he had about 80 yards receiving. He had about 3 rushes for about 40 yards, and he had 2 interceptions on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy, he's going to be special. I got a running back that I think is one of the best in the state that don't nobody know nothing about. His name is DeWarren Rice. He's probably about 5'9", but he's one of them little stocky ones with the big calves and runs downhill. So I like him. He's pretty good. I got 2 seniors that came back on the offensive line. Sam Drain and Jamirion Shaw, they're good. I got the younger guys are the ones that I'm excited about, which is we don't have enough for a JV.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had enough for a JV to get those guys some playing time, in 2 to 3 years, that place you ain't gonna believe it. There's 5 of them freshmen that's offensive linemen, 6'2", 6'3" or better. I was talking to Gray Eye about them the other day. He's like, Dean, you gonna think you somebody when them boys grow up. So we got some good ones.
What's your 5-year goal there? Your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan at Johnson is to build it. Well, one of my personal goals is to make high school football the best experience for all the players that play.
Mm-hmm.
And in 5 years, hey, this year, I want to win a region championship. I want to continue to improve on what we did last year. Last year, we won homecoming for the first time in 15 years. We had a home playoff football game for the first time in over 30 years. We won a home playoff game. We finished second in the region. We won homecoming, and I just want to continue to build on that. I want to win a region championship. I want our kids feel what it's like to go deep in the playoffs, make it to a state championship, and play over there at Benedict. And that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna do everything in our power to obtain it.
Now, do you talk about that daily, or is that something? Does your staff on board with you on that? I mean, how do you get everybody to buy into what you're doing?
First of all, I believe in that. If you set a goal and work towards it, write it down, and speak of it every day. We break it out on state champions every day. Mm-hmm. At the end of practice, we get our prayer, and before we go, it's 1-2 state champs, and the kids know what the goal is. We took one on the chin Friday, and after we watched the film from Friday, I let them know that all our goals are still intact. Mm-hmm. Region championship still intact. State championship still intact. Winning season still intact. So we let them know what we want and what we're trying to do. And in 5 years, I hope we done accomplish all those goals a couple times.
That's great. That's super. Do a lot of your guys also play other sports too? Or when the season is over, you got them in that weight room, or what's going on after that?
It's one of my biggest challenges at Johnson is, like, how do you get the weight room done? We got 40 on the football team, and of those 40, that's the majority of the athletes at the school. Mm-hmm. So the football team, we got about 5 or 6 of the basketball players. Everybody on the football team wrestle. The baseball and track team, I'm also the head baseball coach. Mm-hmm. My whole baseball team is made up of football players. So, and one thing, so they play sports year round. And it's a fine line between playing sports year round and when do you get a chance to go in the weight room. I tried my hardest to get it done this year. It didn't happen. Hopefully it'll happen in the future to get us a football weightlifting class. And it just didn't happen. They cut a few spots at the school, and it didn't happen, which is a shame because everybody doing it now.
Yeah, I feel you on that. But
and to be competitive, I think you got to do it. So the day in our meeting, we work out on Sunday, and on Wednesday we're gonna try to get us a 45-minute lift into. So that's at least 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. We don't have to, when we can do that weight room and still practice. And Wednesday will be a little bit longer, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, we had to make time for that because if you back when I did it, we would practice. We go to the weight room every day except Thursday. Mm-hmm. You know, we go to weight room then to practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
Yeah. So just a matter of getting it done and everything. But from what I hear, man, you are doing a great job. I see some of the little short video things you do on social media.
I don't put them on.
I know.
Matter of fact, one of the assistant coaches asked me, Dean, how do we start? I have no idea. Mm-hmm. I know. I think we won. We might have won the first game. No, we lost. We lost to Wade Hampton. We were scheduled to play Denmark. This was last year. We prepared for Denmark. On Tuesday, Denmark called and said they had COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm ready to get this first game in. I'm ready. My head coach the first game. I'm ready. So Wade Hampton called on Tuesday. We was at practice when he called me practicing for Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
He called me and said, man, I heard y'all lost the game for Denmark. Yeah, AD told me today. Let's play Friday. We ain't got a game. So we traded film, went home and on Tuesday night, broke them down, practiced for them Wednesday and Thursday, and went to Wade Hampton and got off the bus. Denmark, I guess Denmark's closer than Wade Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
The bus was scheduled for like 5 o'clock. We get to Wade Hampton like 7:10.
Wow.
We jumped off the bus, received the kickoff and threw a pick. And we lost the game. We lost the game 24-16.
Uh-huh.
And so that man, I wanted that one back. But so that happened and then
get it back.
Then we played. I forgot who we played week 2, but whoever it was, we beat them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm talking to the opposing coach, and when I look back, my kids they were all excited. They waiting on me. So I run over there and I just let out the biggest yell and the biggest ah.
Uh-huh.
And after every game, every time we win, they're waiting on me. They're waiting on me to come.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw.
That's not what you saw. I knew you were talking about that. They like it and I like it too.
Well, that's great, man. As long as you can bring that energy to it and take care of those kids, that's the bottom line. I remember, as long as the kids like it and you feel comfortable out of your skin doing it, then that's the bottom line there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we're coming to the end of this. Man, I've enjoyed it, man.
Good, man. I'm glad you had me on. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah. Before we go, I always ask the guys if they had an hour to spend with a personality or somebody in your life, and now that's a football coach and a non-football coach. Who would that person be? And you can pick either one you want. If you had an hour to spend with a football personality and an hour to spend with someone outside of football, who would those two people be and why? And take your time. I mean, we still got a little bit of time.
All right. Football wise, I came from Alabama, so I grew up under the Alabama-Auburn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to take an hour to sit down with Nick Saban.
Why?
Because what he's doing right now in college football is unprecedented. I mean, to continue to win at that level with the standard that they have set there, and to continue to be that good for that long, I want to know what it takes and what does it take to achieve success on that level consistently. And I know college football and recruiting and all that stuff is a little bit different than what we have on the high school level. We kind of coach what we have. Mm-hmm. But something tell me if Nick Saban was a high school coach, he'd be successful also. And I want to know what is it that makes people motivating people and winning people over. I think that's the biggest part of what a coach does. Getting a kid to do something that he don't understand and getting a kid to do it hard all the time. I think that's one of the biggest things of coaching. And I think that guy does a great job at doing it. From you look at his coaching tree, the assistants that's been under him and around him and Bill Belichick are friends, and there's some kind of correlation there. And I want to know. I want a piece of it. Okay. So I would like to talk to him about it.
And outside of football?
Outside of football, and this might be a little bit weird for you, but I would love to sit down and have an hour conversation with LeBron James.
That's fine. This is your personality. Just tell the audience why.
Because since LeBron's been man, people, I'm gonna lose some friends behind this now, but yeah. But my friends already know how I feel. But to me, since LeBron been a 13 or 14-year-old kid, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Uh-huh.
They talk about the GOAT comparison, and it reminds me of when Mike Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas. That's another one too I like to talk to him too. But when he got knocked out, that was my hero. I just love myself some Mike Tyson, watching him fight.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got knocked out, I didn't want to believe he got knocked out. I was like, and I watched it. Yeah, you know. So for me, LeBron James, a lot of people compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. Who's better? Who had a better career? And to me, LeBron's been dealing with that since he's been 14 years old. And now that he went from Akron, Ohio, from a 14-year-old, 15-year-old high school kid to a billionaire in Los Angeles, I don't know how much he's changed. And I would like to know, how do you keep it all in perspective with all of the people who want you to be bad so that you don't knock their hero off their throne, and just dealing with that and continue to be good consistently for so long. I mean, I think that because at the end of the day, it's going to come to the end sooner or later for everybody.
Yeah.
And it always does in athletics. And I just want to know, how do them guys consistently continue to be on top of the game?
That's great, man. That is good. You're the first one to bring up LeBron James.
I like LeBron, man.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that concludes our interview, man. I really enjoyed it. Brought back memories for me.
Hey, man.
I remember walking up them steps in the front to see C.A. Johnson going to school and every morning. Well, anything in closing you want to say? You want to close out?
No, just keep an eye out for us, and our guys work hard, and we doing some good things right now at C.A. Johnson, and I want everybody to see it. I want everybody to be singing the Green Hornet song. Go Green Hornets, you can do it.
Yeah.
Last thing too, now we run a version of the helm. Hey, best thing I do, man, for real.
Okay. They didn't know you young bucks know what the hammer is.
I know what it is. We put the counter in last week. Should have been a touchdown every time. We pull. Hey, we block down. We put tight end over there and block down and counter back with them two backs and lead with that running back and snap the quarterback. It 10-15 every time. Should be a touchdown if they block it right. We still working on it though.
Okay, man. Well,
I'm telling you.
Well,
we count off of that thing too.
Yeah. Well, you kind of made my night tonight.
Well, I'm telling you.
All right, man.
Man, we're going to get together and talk about that thing soon.
Bring it on. Just holler at me.
Absolutely.
Okay, buddy. Well, you have a good night with your family and everything, man. And tell Mama I say hello.
I sure will. My pleasure.
Okay, take care, okay?
You too.
All right, guys. That concludes the second session of Run the Hammer podcast with Scotty Dean, C.A. Johnson High School. And boy, that was fun and brought me down memory lane a lot. Got another one coming up here in a few minutes. Quinn McCullum from Marlboro County High School. So I'm going to sign off on this one and get ready for the next one, okay?